What's up, everybody? My name is Tony Hope, and you're listening to the Hear Me Roar podcast, a sports show where I run my mouth about all things sports. And today, me and Noble Lewis is back recording another iteration of the Hear Me Roar podcast. And if you're not familiar with my voice, you better get used to it because I am the future of sports media. Tonight, January 11th, Thursday afternoon, or Thursday evening, I guess. We have some stuff to talk about in the sports world. It's gonna be a little more relaxed episode. You know, we're saving all the big talk, the big football playoff talk for our Monday episode. But the NFL world, the NBA world, it never sleeps, which means we're gonna always have an episode ready for you. Noble, how you doing today?
Doing good, man. Just getting ready. Got some excited for this playoff football coming up this weekend. Super wild card weekend. 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday. Gonna be exciting, man. See, we're gonna have a lot of conversations after this weekend potentially.
Yes, we will. I'm very excited as well. Before we get started in this episode, you already know the deal. Like, comment, and subscribe on YouTube. Um, Leave a rating, leave us some feedback on Apple Podcasts, Spotify Podcasts. We like all feedback, both positive and negative. That's the only way we can improve the show. Is only if y'all tell us something. So tell us what you want to hear more of. Tell us what you like. Tell us what you don't, so we can cater the show to y'all's preferences. Because y'all the ones listening, straight up. So do us that favor, please. And at the end, it will help benefit y'all as well. So let's get right into it. You see, I'm rocking the Browns jersey. I'm rocking. I picked my bandwagon team for the playoffs. Go Cleveland Browns. This has nothing to do with the fact that this is the only football jersey I have in my closet, and this has everything to do with this is the team that I expect to go all the way to the Super Bowl. This is my dark horse of the league. So go Cleveland. This is
More
a Peyton Hillis
specifically,
jersey.
yeah, I was gonna say there's a Peyton Hillis jersey,
Y'all
Madden
see it?
12 cover, number
Y'all see it.
40.
Number 40. This is the only white man's jersey I have in my closet. I got this from a thrift store, I believe. So, I had to represent. So we're going. We rocking with the Cleveland Browns all the way. Go Joe Flacco. He's going to go ahead and do his thing, and he's going to make it all the way to the Super Bowl and have a storybook documentary-esque playoff run.
That'll be something to watch.
It will be. I'm telling you, it's going to happen. I'm telling you. I threw this
Unfortunately,
jersey on for that reason.
Brock Purdy exists. But
Brock
anyway,
Purdy. Brock Purdy don't know who his daddy is. Joe Flacco. He's been doing this shit since he was in diapers.
if we lost another Super Bowl to Joe Flacco, I don't know what I would do. It would be a bad day. It would be a very bad day for me. It would be very. I don't know. We might have to cancel. You might be going back to doing it solo if Joe Flacco beat us for
Joe Flacco's the man.
Super Bowl. So we'll have to see about that one.
Joe Flacco's the man. I just noticed I didn't have my AirPods in.
I got my money on them this weekend, though. I will say that. I do expect them to beat the Texans. I have them winning over Houston this weekend.
The only thing I don't like about it is the fact that if the Browns are the lowest team to win, they'll have to play the Ravens. I really want to see Lamar Jackson and the Ravens take off this year and go win them go to the Super Bowl, go win a chip.
Yeah.
Also, one thing I don't want.
That's one thing about Lamar for me is that, I'm one of his biggest supporters, right? I love Lamar to death. I especially try to advocate for him because of some of the unfair criticisms that he receives. But this is that year. This is the year, man. He might, especially if he goes on to win MVP. It's like, all right, you're MVP, you're number 1 seed, you got the best record in the NFL. You just got paid that big bag. It's bag talk. Now you got to put up or shut up in my eyes, because obviously he can play well and they can still lose, but it's still for me, you got to at least win a playoff game, right? You got to at least get out the divisional. We'll see what happens after that, of course, But for me, especially because of the whole contract situation, this is the year that you gotta really show something because it's been a long time coming.
Yeah. You think back on that the year that he did win MVP, the first time, and he lost to the Titans. Um, this is a big playoff, and this is a perfect segment to our first topic: is who has the most pressure on them in the playoffs this year? Um, Lamar Jackson, obviously, that is he's one of the more critiqued players in the league, and with what's this saying called? Heavy is the head who wears the crown. And that's just how it is. With more success comes more eyes, and with more eyes comes more critique. That's how it is. More people want to see you fail. Just as many people want to see you win. There's going to be a lot of people that want to see you fail. And with Lamar Jackson, it's been like that since the beginning of his career. He's having arguably the best year of his career this season. Bye week, he has a solid team from top to bottom, offense and defense. This is his best shot at not just making a Super Bowl, but just kind of getting that proverbial monkey off his back as far as playoff victories are concerned. The Ravens are a championship caliber franchise, so they don't measure themselves as far as making the playoffs. They don't measure themselves with divisional titles. The Baltimore fan base, they want to win chips, and understandably so, coming from such a deep lineage as they've done. Like, honestly, Baltimore's been kind of spoiled with the amount of Hall of Fame players they've had grace their field and wear that jersey, from Shannon Sharp to Ray Lewis to Terrell Suggs to Ed Reed to Joe Flacco. They've been just
Lamar, no.
now Lamar Jackson just top, like, just for the last 20 plus years since the year 2000. They've been just completely spoiled in the amount of generational talent that has graced the field, and they have two championships to show for it. Now it's time for Lamar Jackson to put up, like you said, put up or shut up. He definitely has a lot of pressure on his back, but he's not the only one in the playoffs that has that. I'd say Josh Allen, he's up there too, as far as we're expecting you to do something. Like, to put it very lightly, we're expecting you to do something. You're the what are they? The second seed in the AFC.
Mhm.
They're playing the Pittsburgh Steelers in the wild card round. You had a really up and down season as an individual. Your team somehow managed to turn around. Excuse me, managed to turn around that horrible start y'all had and get the second seed. Now it's time to not just win against the Steelers, but to take this all the way to the Super Bowl. Like, the closest they've been, they lost to Patrick Mahomes in overtime. They were the ones who got the overtime rules changed. Now it's time to make do on that, and let us all know that that wasn't a fluke. Go on and do something big. So I say Josh Allen also has a lot of pressure on him in the playoffs this season.
I agree with that, and not just Allen. I would throw McDermott in with him because I mean, just kind of as a duo, I think they have the pressure. Because McDermott has, like you said, for pretty much everything that you stated for Josh Allen, I would say for McDermott, because like you said, the Bills got the overtime rules changed because of them, and just like you're the 2 seed somehow. I don't know how they ended up with that, but they're
Oh
the
my
2 seed. Yeah, just like you said, put up or shut up. Switching over to the NFC, I would also Dak Prescott and the Cowboys.
for sure.
This is we said it in the episode earlier this week. This is probably the best Cowboys team we've seen in a very long time. This is one of their best chances of having real success. And they're not favorites. We expect them. I personally, 49ers bias aside, don't expect them to beat the 49ers. Expect them to beat the 49ers to win the conference, assuming that that's the conference championship matchup. But I mean, how many times has it been a first round exit for the Cowboys, right? Like, you can't lose to these inferior teams. I would understand it if you lost to the 49ers in the conference championship. I would understand it if you lost to the Ravens in the Super Bowl. But Like this weekend, you have absolutely no excuse
Yeah,
to
none.
lose to the Packers. Zero excuse to lose to the Packers. And then after this week, whoever you go on to play, I would say I believe it would be if the Lions win, it would be them. If the Bucks win, so there's a whole plethora of scenarios. But you're the 2 seed, so you should be beating everyone that's not the 49ers. You're expected to beat everyone that's not the 49ers. So especially this week, I think is of utmost importance because A, how many times have we seen them get knocked out in the first round of the playoffs? And then B, this is they're probably going against the worst team remaining in these playoffs. You could argue the Steelers are worse than the Packers. Is really they're both not very strong teams, but this team, you have zero excuse to lose against the Packers. Like this should be a cakewalk. And it kind of the same thing that the Bills, the whole Bills, because they're the 2 seed going against the 7 seed as well. Dak, you're trying to get paid, I believe. I think is this a contract
Yes,
year for him?
this is
Yeah.
contract year. Yep.
Dak, you're trying to get paid. You gotta show something. You gotta show us something. So I would also put some pressure on Dak and the Cowboys because CD Lamb's coming off a great year. Dak, you're trying to get paid. Just the whole
CD's
how
also gonna want to get paid too. He said he wants to be the
is
highest paid receiver in the league.
his contract yet? So
Yeah.
you got to show us something for that, man. You got to show us something for that. So I would say the Cowboys definitely have some pressure on them because, and especially just with the recent history of that team, every year especially since 2016 when Dak got there, them going 14-2 and getting knocked out in the first round, or the divisional round of that playoffs, and just every year getting let down after let down. As funny as it would be, and as much as I want to see them fail, believe me, if they lose to the Packers,
Right.
I will be enjoying it. But I still say they have no excuse to lose to the Packers.
Yeah, definitely. Like it's another. I think this year is like the greatest of the greatest example of like Super Bowl or bust. Um, honestly, like if the Cowboys don't make the Super Bowl, it's a failed season.
Yeah, and that's
Uh,
for also like where do you go from here
right.
if you don't have success? Like what is the next step? I know you're missing Trayvon Diggs. He got out at the start of the season, but I don't think he's what
I'm about to
him
say
as
nah.
one player is would put y'all over the hump if you lose, especially early in the playoffs. So it's what do you do from here? Like clearly the experiment as a whole is just like I don't want to say go into rebuild mode because they're very far from that, but it's just like you got to start. You can't just keep going on with the same thing and getting the
Yeah.
same result and expecting, definition of insanity. So I agree with you in that sense because it's my thing is more what is the next step if you don't have success this postseason.
Right. Because now you got cornerstones of your team that are just only getting older. Tyron Smith, he's been getting hurt for 2-3 games at a time this year. Zach Martin, he's only getting older as well. These are players, these are top all pro players on this old line, yet they're cornerstones of your team. They've been with your team since the Tony Romo days. And every year that y'all don't win a playoff game is another year of their best years going by. So absolutely, especially Dak Prescott. This is one of his better seasons. He was in MVP talks for a while. I'm expecting him to do to show that he is a top quarterback in this league. I'm expecting him to. This is not a prediction. This is not like we're going to see a breakout. No, I'm expecting Dak Prescott to show up in the playoffs. This is something that now you're expected to do. When we were watching the playoffs with Matt Ryan and Drew Brees and Aaron Rodgers and Peyton Manning and Tom Brady, those were all players who had expectations of winning in these games. These are not, we'll see. Like how it is with CJ Stroud when he's playing the Browns this weekend. This is not a will see for Dak Prescott. This is what you better do. This is what we're expecting you to do. You want to be a top quarterback in the league and get paid as such. This is what you have to do. So yeah, definitely Dak Prescott and the Cowboys team in general, they have a lot of pressure on them to have some success in the playoffs. I'll also say I'm gonna put the pressure on Kyle Shanahan. Kyle Shanahan has some pressure on his neck too.
I was gonna kind of put him, and I was gonna say him. I would always gonna put him, kind of Tua and the Dolphins and the Chiefs as like the tier right below in terms of pressure. But I would definitely put him like just put 49ers as a whole. I would definitely. I mean, anytime you're the one seed, you're definitely gonna have pressure.
Yeah,
But I would also agree, especially, I mean, because last year it wasn't really his fault. They had no. We had Josh
Josh
Johnson,
Johnson
who got hurt himself. So then you even had no quarterback.
getting
So last
playoff
year,
reps.
I can't blame him for that. But it is like, and especially as a 49er fan, I'm obviously not moving on from Kyle Shanahan, but it's been just so close yet so far for the last couple of years, and just his whole career since, especially since 2016. And I know it's just
Yeah,
been plagued by he can't get it done. He's kind of in like how Andy Reid used to be, where it was just
yep.
he cannot finish the job. So I would
I've
say,
called Kyle Shanahan the biggest loser in football for that reason, and it's not as like a diss. It's just the truth. If you made it to the big game on multiple occasions, and you have had a play, you have had a role in not winning. When it was when we were in the Super Bowl against the Patriots, he was calling the offensive plays. He wasn't running the ball. We were still throwing the ball when we were up 28-3. So he had a role in that. When y'all played the Chiefs in the Super Bowl, we all up 10 in the fourth quarter. He was calling the plays with that. So he's always had a role in him getting. He's always been a great coach. Still is. He's always had a role in getting to the big game, but he's also had a role in losing the big game as well.
yeah,
So
even in the NFC Championships, I mean, the Rams a couple years ago in the NFC Championships, they had a solid lead in that game. Um, and it's like you said, he's always been able to get there. Like, we know how good you are of a play caller. We know you're one of the best play designers in the NFL, one of the best play callers in the NFL. But it is, can you get the job done? Like, we know how you can start. We
right,
know that you can, get to the NFC Championship, get to the Super Bowl, but can you finally seal the deal? And I think this is, I would honestly say, his best. This 49ers team, top to bottom, I would say it's so much better than that team we saw in 2019. And that was still a really good squad. They got the one seed, they were 13-3. But I would say this 49ers team, even with a lesser record, I would still say this is the best team that they have had in the Shanahan era. So I would definitely say, I would agree with you as Kyle Shanahan in particular, because I mean, Brock Purdy is in his second year. He's a second year quarterback. I'm not going to throw a bunch of pressure on
yeah,
you.
I'm not. Yeah,
Dude's not even making $1 million this year.
right,
Like, he's so I'm not going to throw a bunch of pressure on him. I mean, obviously, there's a couple of vets on that team that they don't have as much. Like, obviously, we expect a good performance. CMC, I expect you to be on top of your game. Kittle, Debo, I expect you guys to be on top of your games, but you're not. You don't have as much importance on the game as a QB or head coach. So it's more on Shanahan in my eyes. As far as the 49ers success, it is on him to see how far they get.
definitely. And like you said, like this, it's is the best team Kyle Shanahan has had during his tenure with the Niners. I agree with that wholeheartedly. Um, it's they have set themselves up with some great play to be Super Bowl favorites. So there is all you need. You win 2 games to get there. 2 games to get there. And you got to win the big one. I don't doubt that the Niners will be able to do so. Um, I've always been a proponent that if they can stay healthy, they can like the sky's the limit. This bye week will for sure help with them being able to be as fully functional as possible. Now it's time to get the job done. And then this is on Kyle Shanahan. Of course, if they don't win, I doubt they'll move on from him. But it will just add another chapter to the biggest loser in the NFL's book. Um, and we can kind of stay on the topic of head coaches. Uh, a lot of movement, in the NFL and in the football world in general. The football world has been shaken to its core with some of these head coaching firings. these head coaching parting of ways. A lot has been going on in the last couple of days. And what better way to start it off than with Bill Belichick, the 24-year head coach of the New England Patriots, has mutually parted ways with the organization. It happened earlier this week. It was
Earlier
made
today.
official today. Yeah, it was made official today. It was in the news that it was a possibility for much of the week. Today it was made official. The reign of terror is over. It's over. He has been a massive thorn in my personal side for as long as I've been alive. I did not like him when he was coach of the Patriots. I never liked the Patriots. He did a great job at making himself as unlikable as possible. Um, and I can't help but say it's because of how successful he was. Um,
Oh, yeah, for
Look at that,
sure.
seven championship wins as head
Like
coach.
nobody would
Like,
hate him if he was bad. Like
yeah,
if they weren't as good as they were like, they're kind of like I mean, it's been compared before, but they were literally the Sith. The Sith they had like one for one. They had the Death Star at one point. Like they could
yeah,
eradicate planets at will. So nobody would hate him because he was bad. It's because he was because of all the success and the accolades and the winning and overall beating odds. It's like, man, this is the evil overlord of the NFL right now.
right. And he literally terrorized an entire league. We can't even just say the AFC. He terrorized an entire league for much more than 20 plus years, like a little
2
over 20 plus
decades.
years.
Yeah.
So that is it's insane. Of course, after Tom Brady left and went to Tampa Bay, just the team in general never recovered. Um, I believe that this move was it was more than overdue, long overdue. I felt that when Tom Brady left, he should have to, due to the fact that you spent your whole career with one quarterback. One quarterback. The only time you did not play with Tom Brady was when he got suspended and when he got injured, when he blew his ACL out. Um, and what year was that? 2000 and
11, no.
I think it was 11.
It was like 12, I think. One of those two. I think one
Yeah,
of
like
those
he
two
got
years.
his ACL blown out by Buddy on the Chiefs, and then when he also got suspended for Deflategate and Jimmy Garoppolo, that's when, oh Lord, I still remember when that
I'm
whole
sorry, 2008.
fiasco happened. Oh, 2008 when he got his ACL blown out. So you had Tom Brady as your starting quarterback for your entire career. So once he left, I felt as if the Bill Belichick era should have ended as well. Like you said, like the Patriots team never hasn't looked like the Patriots of old since Tom Brady left. Um, Nothing. This doesn't the lack of success Bill Belichick had for the last 3, 4 or so years doesn't take away from his whole career. He's been a tremendous head coach. He still wants to coach as well. Like his name has been circulating around coming to Atlanta. I've already said on the last show, unless he's coming with Tom Brady, I'm cool. I'm good on it. And this had, like I said, nothing against Bill Belichick, but I want the full package. And pause. I want the full package. If he ain't coming with Tom Brady and Matt Patricia and Josh McDaniels and the whole squad, Julian Edelman, I want everybody. If you're gonna bring
Gronk got a
yourself to the
return.
coach, I need everybody that comes with it. I need everybody that has a couple more plays left in them. Danny Amendola, what's his name?
Chris
Uh, uh,
Hogan.
Chris Hogan. I need Chris Hogan too. I need everybody. I need Devin McCourty to come out of retirement.
That's crazy.
Need everybody. Um, but yeah, so yeah, Bill Belichick, he still wants to coach though. Um, I think he's going to die on the NFL field. I don't think he's ever going to leave, bro.
Imagine he goes to Alabama. That would be crazy.
That's crazy. That'd be
Um,
crazy.
but yeah, I mean I agree with the partially agree with that he should have left with Brady. I don't blame him for wanting to see if he could stay and have success. Mac Jones was kind of supposed to be the next Brady. I mean, we know how that turned out. No chance. But
Yeah,
I don't blame him for wanting to see if he could stay with the same stay with the same team and have success. But like you said, his legacy is set. No matter what he does from here on out, his legacy is already set. One of the winningest. He only needs 15 games to pass Shula for the winningest coach of all time. So I mean, if he would have stayed with the Patriots, I would have probably taken another 5 years,
Yeah.
the 15 games. But yeah, I don't blame him for it was like you said, it was overdue. It was overdue. It was about time. It's just, end of an era. And I think there's definitely a lot of, I know we are gonna get into it, but it's definitely a lot of what did I say, a lot of attractive coaching vacancies right now. Um, I would not know. The Panthers are one, Titans, Raiders, Chargers, Falcons, Seahawks, Commanders. So I'm definitely interested to see what direction he ends up going.
Yeah, like you said, there's a lot of vacancies going on. Like another team that is going to be looking for a new head coach is the Seattle Seahawks. Pete Carroll, he's not going to be there next season. That was the most random of news. Didn't expect that. Um, he's also another coach where it's like this move was long overdue in my eyes. I'm not I'm not too fond of like you holding on to your job because of your legacy in football, because I've seen coaches get fired for the same type of performance. Only one has a bigger name than the other. I'm more so like results oriented. Like Pete Carroll is a perfect example. After the whole 2014 Super Bowl, throwing the ball on the half-yard line and completely causing your team to, lose. Like the Seahawks should have 2 rings right now. Russ and Marshawn Lynch and Richard Sherman and the whole gang, they should have 2 rings. And they're one short against Bill Belichick and the Patriots due to your play call. After that, that team should have been blown up because there was no recovery from that. There was no recovery. Since then, it's been much of nothing with the Seahawks and Pete Carroll. Um, not like it's not to take away from him as a head coach, but I just think that this move was long overdue as well because he didn't want to leave, right? Like he wanted to
Yeah,
stay and continue to coach.
he was
He
fired. He
he's
was relieved of his duties.
right.
It wasn't mutually
Now
parting ways.
he has an advisory role with the team, which is pretty much just professional talk for we're just gonna keep you on payroll, because of everything you've done for us. We're gonna keep you on payroll. Um, the Broncos did the same thing with John Elway. It's just one of those things. But that was a very random move. Um, another coach from our childhood, another coach that we've grown up watching that has been he's out. It's kind of crazy. 2024 is it's the end of an era going on.
I know this is a little bit different, but would you kind of put, since we're talking about old guy head coaches with legacies, would you kind of put Popovich in the same?
I'd say yes, because like the Spurs are trash this year. They've been trash for the last few years. Um, the last time we really spoke about the Spurs in a championship caliber light was what 2017 when Kawhi
Kawhi getting
yeah
hurt.
when
Yeah.
when Kawhi injured his ankle because of Zaza. That was like the last time we really talked about the Spurs in a championship light. Ever since then, it's just been either barely making the playoffs with DeMar DeRozan or LaMarcus Aldridge, or just straight trash like they've been for the last few years. Um, and it's in my eyes, it's just like when is now I don't want to say when is enough, but like when do we move on?
Yeah. Like
Like
when
when do
does
we move on?
legacy not become
As
uh
important as the
anything that
future.
year? Hmm.
Like
I kind of
you
Speaking of Popovich, I'm kind of moving in the stand in the NBA. I'm kind of moving into that territory with Steve Kerr. I'm not gonna lie.
Yeah,
We got to see how this Warrior season pans out. But the way it's looking, I know we're getting to the NBA a little bit later, but the way it's looking, he's kind of in that same realm. Like for me, like at what point do you start thinking, okay, legacy is cool and all, but we're
right.
focused on the future now, and you haven't been
You're not
producing.
keeping up.
Yeah. So
I was talking to my mom about that earlier with Mike Tomlin. Like, it's great that he made the playoffs somehow, some way. Somehow he ended up in the playoffs this year. That's cool. But the Steelers aren't an organization that measures themselves off of making the playoffs. That's something that the Lions do. That's something that the Browns do because they've never seen success. The Steelers have 6 NFL championships. You, Mike Tomlin, have brought 2 to the city. You still have this job because we think that you are able. Excuse me. We think that you are able to get us some more of those, right? So just because you've never had a losing record, just because you are making the playoffs, that doesn't matter to me. Like if I'm from the outside looking in, it doesn't matter to me if I was a Steelers fan because I want to win championships.
I
You
agree.
know?
He's approaching that territory. But I would say one thing for Mike Tomlin and the Steelers organizations as a whole, the Steelers have only had 4 head coaches out of their entire 60 plus year history.
Yeah.
And then the first one was only there for like 3 years. So they've essentially had 3 head coaches. They've all won Super Bowls. So I know they are a very, very, very selective team when it comes to head coaches. So I kind of understand why. And I mean, Mike Tomlin has made, I think he's like the best floor raiser in the NFL, especially in recent years, because I mean, Steelers, frankly speaking, kind of should not have made the playoff. I don't know
Not at
with
all.
the quarterbacks that they've had, the carousel between Kenny Pickett, Mitch Trubisky, and Mason Rudolph. They have the
Yeah.
Mason Rudolph starting in a playoff game, not due to injury in 2024. Like this is, I have to give him credit as a floor raiser. But my thing is that I don't know what his ceiling, like how if he's able to elevate a roster to a championship level at this point in his career. And we'll just have to see. We'll have to see, especially with the Steelers, if they end up having success this postseason. You never know if they beat the Bills. We
Right.
don't know. We don't know. We'll have to see this postseason. I think this will be a great indicator. You can kind of add them to the list with some pressure. Not much pressure, not nearly as much as any of the other names we mentioned, but you can kind of not as much pressure, but just kind of keep your eye just in case
Right.
they beat the Bills and things of that sort. But yeah, I think that there is a couple coaches in NFL across all sports really that are kind of surviving by their legacy, and a lot of teams have to make big decisions whether legacy and history of winning is important or whether building for the future is more important.
Right. What we saw with Doc Rivers, that man don't even have a job anymore. He was floating off of that 2008 championship for pretty much a little bit more than 10 years, 10 plus years. So it's one of those things. And like I said, this is nothing to take away from their accomplishments or their head coaching ability. It's just to say, you know,
Sometimes it's just
when
time, man.
you're right, like
Sometimes
when
it's for real
you're
just
just
time.
slowing stuff up. We just need a new brigade. We need a new regime. We need just new, fresh air. Um, Not everybody is capable because it's easy to say, yeah, we should move on from someone, but now who's going to come in and replace? Like, who's going to? We've been so blessed with consistent head coaching that we don't want to take a chance. Like, one thing you can say about Popovich, one thing you can say about Mike Tomlin, one thing you can say about Bill Belichick, they are all consistent. They're all consistent at what they do. You never hear nothing bad about them as people. You never hear anything bad about as them as coaches. They're consistent at what they do. And coming from the Falcons and the Hawks, who have never had just consistency at that head coaching position. It's something that I don't know. So it's easy for me to say it's time to move on because I've seen us cycle through coaches like it's nothing. So I don't know. It's just one of those things. A lot of just head coaching positions moving. Pete Carroll, Bill Belichick for the Patriots, Mike Vrabel for the Titans. You called it on our last episode. I had zero clue that this was something in the news, something that was possibly going to happen. Mike Vrabel was fired as head coach for the Tennessee Titans. It was to me, it was out of nowhere because I just genuinely didn't know. Because all of the news that was talking about for the Titans was D Hop is probably not going to return because he signed a 1-year deal with the team, and Derrick Henry is a free agent, so his future with the Titans is unknown as well.
I don't blame
I heard
Vrabel for trying
nothing.
to dip out of that. And Henry's pretty much. I don't know if you saw his whole like thing where he grabbed the mic and he told Tennessee thank
Yeah,
you for the last 8 years. He's pretty much out of there.
yeah.
I don't blame Mike Vrabel. It was fired, but in my eyes, it was more of a mutually parted ways because I don't blame Vrabel for trying to get out of there, because that's
He
a
saw the
house.
writing on the wall.
Yeah, exactly. That's a house that's just waiting to burn down, man. I mean, Will Levis, we'll see how he pans out. But I mean, I saw a recent video of the night draft day when they traded AJ Brown on draft day. And he left the room as soon as the trade went through because he was like he didn't want to make that move. So I'm kind of it was fired, but in my eyes, it was more Vrabel wanted to get Dell out of there anyway. That is one of the less appealing jobs. I mean, not many people are going to turn down a head coaching job, but I I wouldn't want to be the person that
No,
steps up in there.
not at all. The Titans are just in flux right now. They're just in flux. There's not like a solid position that they have covered, like from top down. I guess their defense is probably the most appealing thing, but you're about to lose your top running back most likely. They will be fools to willingly let him go. They will be fools, but I think the cards are in Derrick Henry's hands as far as where he wants to go with his career. So
And
if they
I will
let him,
never understand that. It's like you're you know, and I mean, like you said, the writing's kind of on the wall with Derrick Henry. We don't know what's going to happen, but it looks like he wants to leave no matter
yeah,
what. And I will never understand why teams do not trade and get some sort of return for players that they know aren't coming back. Like
right,
there was rumors circling around during the trade deadline. Somebody might get Henry. Now you're letting a top talent because he's still a top talent in the NFL. He's still one of the better backs in the league. You're letting a top talent go for nothing when you could have gotten at least something. You
something,
would have gotten a lot for Derrick Henry. So now
right,
you're letting this talent go. You got no picks for him. You don't know if Will Levis is the answer. He might be good, he might not. He's looking kind of average right now, but
yeah,
we'll have to see. Offensively, D Hop, like you said, 1-year deal. He might leave. Now you got nobody at receiver. Offensive line, Taylor Lewan's gone. Like just I don't know what that's going into a dumpster fire of a team. Like they just don't have anything going for them. And I like I'll never understand why teams don't get a return for a player that they know is not going to stay.
right. I definitely think that it's just kind of like a coward move to hold on and try to just milk out the as many ticket sales as you can. Try to milk out as much as this, what I'm saying. Just milk them out until you can't anymore. I always thought that was just like a coward move by an organization. And it's like take a chance, take a chance, yo. Like if you need to understand when it's time to say goodbye. You just need to know and it's better to move on too soon or not too soon. I want to say too soon. It's better to move on via trade than to let someone walk and get nothing in return. like you said.
Literally nothing.
So and that's what's most my a possibility that's going to happen with Derrick Henry. Why would I want to go back to Tennessee other than my family? That's it. You know, like that's it. That's the only thing keeping me.
He's getting into like what is the 8th year of his career. I mean, he's getting a
Yeah,
little up there for. He's been healthy. He only missed 1 or 2 games this year. He's been healthy. He's getting a little up there in terms of age as a running back, and he's had multiple years leading the league in carries. So eventually, I mean, he's a meta human, but eventually that wear and tear is going to get build up. So I mean, he probably wants to contend. He probably wants to
right.
go to a team that's ready to win. So you probably could have gotten a sizable return, if nothing else, just draft picks.
Just picks,
Literally, like
picks.
you're going into this is not a surprise that they're not a playoff roster. Nobody's shocked that they didn't make the playoffs. Even though they were no, I'm sorry, I'm thinking of the Colts. Even
Yeah,
though they were eliminated relatively early. Like I will never understand it. I can't understand it. They've just got holes everywhere. Offense, defense, now head coach. I don't know who would want to go coach that team, but good luck to whoever gets that position.
right. Yeah, good luck to them. Moving on to like our final head coaching, just shockwave. Nick Saban, head coach of Alabama, the Alabama dynasty, for as long as, well, again, we've been alive. Um, Nick Saban has retired from coaching college football. This news was broken, I believe, yesterday.
Mm-hmm.
Um, this was a very shocking move as well. This is after he lost to Michigan in the college football playoffs. He retired. He, he's no longer the head
Yep.
coach of Alabama.
Well, then I'm out.
Yeah,
Which
he did.
him and Belichick were kind of like the two. They kind of went hand in hand. One was the overlord of the NFL. One was the overlord of college football. But yeah, he's out. I don't know. So I mean, I guess he didn't say anything about coaching anywhere else, did he?
No,
No.
nah.
So yeah, he's
Yes,
just kind of
yes,
he's done.
he's coached in the NFL before, but he said that he's much more catered to college football.
He is.
Um,
He
yeah,
is. He's a
he
college football
yeah,
coach. He's a college football coach, much more same way Dion is, where he's a more of a leader of young men than he
right.
is.
Rather than other grown men, yeah,
Yeah. So I agree with that. Yeah, he just Saban's out, man.
yeah,
He's
it's
just
crazy. So,
that's
question, um, for you, right? Just you personally, if you had the credentials and you had the cachet and whatnot, you were offered a job to coach uh, a SEC college team, and you were offered to coach an NFL team. Which one are you going with? Which one do you see yourself having success in? Which one would you see yourself coaching?
well, I know college. I want to say college coaches get a little bit more of a leash. I think success is very kind of I don't not wishy-washy, but I mean it's like success is scaled differently in college football than it is in NFL football. Like even though obviously the end of the year is the playoffs, we know so many colleges that aren't making the playoffs every year. And I know you said SEC team, but it's
Right.
still like this is success is measured so much differently in college that they do have a little bit more of a leash. Um, like you said, bag talk is of no relevance, right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so
Just
me
whatever
personally,
bag.
I mean,
Money doesn't matter.
I'm much more of an NFL fan, and I think NFL would be more desirable to me personally because there's certain expectations. College players, while they're definitely expected to have especially in the SEC, expected to have some sort of high level of skill, it's not as polished. It's not as clearly defined what is acceptable or what is acceptable play and what isn't. Um, so me personally, I would take an NFL job because it's kind of like it's a job. I mean, every player understands that it's a job and it's not, you're not doing this as, I mean, like, college kid. You're not a college kid playing football this is your career, and you have a lot more on the line, and treating it like a job than a college kid. Although I do think I would be me personally, I would do well with college kids because I would enjoy being able to um not stand up. Well, yeah, I would say stand up for them in a different way than I would as a NFL coach, because like this grown men versus young adults. So while that would be, I would say, a little bit more fun. Yeah, I would personally be an NFL coach just because the expectations are kind of different.
Right. And that's understandable. I've always thought about it like, just because, like the dynamics between college and NFL are completely different. We're dealing with two um, sizably different caliber of individuals, maturity levels. I think I would want to do college over NFL. And just for the simple fact that, man, I think I can coach college kids into becoming better versions of themselves. Like,
That was part of the thing that would make college appealing for me, like being a college coach, is because you're not just a coach, you're like a mentor in this young adult's life. Like
right,
it's a lot more than just, yeah, you're a head coach, you're my boss, essentially. Um,
literally,
it's more that you are guiding, like you said, because most college players have some sort of idea if they're going to be an NFL player, if this is just something they're doing for college. So you could teach a lot more life lessons and things of that sort in college that you can in the NFL. Also, egos, money
right.
is not a
That's
factor.
one of the biggest things.
Yeah,
I
ego and
cannot with
money
these
is not
grown
a
men
factor. So that's definitely another thing. College is more appealing. I would definitely say I would agree with you that college is more appealing in that sense for sure.
because, man, when I just with grown, you're dealing with grown men. Like, like we look at some of these head coaches like Mike McDaniel, Sean McVay. They're as old as some of the players. So it's like, dog, like what makes me want to listen to you? You know what I'm saying? Like we've seen it with players like Jameis Winston, most recently defying what his coach said.
That's a
Um,
little different.
we've seen, oh no, no, it's another
That's a little
that's
different. That's a little
no,
different.
no, I can't
I
do
don't put
that.
that on just
I
Jameis.
can't do that. No, I can't do that.
I mean, no, because I always say at college, it would be different. I think that's a little bit different. Dennis Allen sucks. He needs to go anyway.
Yeah,
um,
two
so
things could be true though. Two
yeah,
things
you're
could
right.
be
You're right.
true.
Two things, but yeah, I agree with you what you're saying. Two things can be true, but I do think that's a little bit different because um Dennis Allen is kind of, I don't see him as a college coach either. So I don't think that's not like I don't think that I don't see him as a college head coach either. Like it's not for me. It's not head, NFL or college. I think he needs to be in Hong Kong, but that's a different story.
But it's very interesting. Like it's just seeing like this is like an end of an era in just football, sports world. Period. Bill Belichick, Pete Carroll, um, Nick Saban, all leaving. Nick Saban, he's coached some absolutely crazy talented Hall of Fame level players, like Julio Jones,
Derrick
Derrick
Henry,
Henry,
uh,
Marlon Humphrey, Deron Payne, Tua,
yeah,
Quentin Williams,
hurt.
Jalen Hurts, Jalen
Yeah,
Waddle.
count that.
Like it's Kareem Jackson. We're looking
Russ,
at some
all the
crazy talented individuals that either
Devontae
found
Smith.
success under him or uh, pretty much if you look at the amount of money those players made in the NFL, Nick Saban's over here. They should all give a cut to Nick Saban because of some of the money that some of these players made. It's just crazy to think that 2024 January, it's only January 11th. It's been 11 days of our new year, and we are seeing a whole platoon swap of NFL coaches, just football legends, move on to new things. Like
Yeah,
next year, we're not going to see Bill Belichick up in Foxborough. Next year, We're not going to see Nick Saban on the sideline coaching.
I mean,
We're not going to see Pete
college
Carroll.
football is going to be a different game next year.
Oh yeah,
The or what was it, Pac-12?
Pac, yeah, I think it's Pac-12.
Yeah, so that's gone. Extended playoffs, extended playoff bracket. Saban gone. It's gonna be college football is gonna be way different next year.
Yeah, it's gonna be hectic next year. It's gonna be hectic for sure. So it makes me wonder, like, why did like the timing of Nick Saban retiring is just kind of interesting. Like, do you really think it's because you think it's for personal reasons, or do you think it's something with like how college football is changing? Like now we got players making NIL money. Like you're not going to be able to recruit a player just because of
The
you
Hellcat.
being Alabama. Like you're not gonna, you know what I'm saying? Look, even Hellcats
Like
gonna
you
be
said,
out
the
of
Hellcats
production.
got
You know what I'm saying?
discontinued.
Like
They got no
it's gonna
more.
take more. Now you're
Yeah,
not gonna be able to slip them nothing under the table no more because these players are getting paid for their likeness anyways. So it's like the timing of it is kind of funny. It's kind of iffy. I don't blame him either way. This is now we're dealing with 20, 21, 22-year-olds with touching millions of dollars while they still in school. So that's going to be a whole nother bag of worms that we're going to see unravel in future years. So it's just real interesting.
yeah, that's gonna. I would agree that it's interesting. I don't really know if there's too much purpose speculating because I doubt we'll even ever get close to the answer. But I will say the timing is a little interesting there, because this college football landscape is changing very rapidly. So yeah, I would agree that the timing is interesting, but I wouldn't bet money that it was. I mean, he's old. He is
Yeah,
72 years old. I think it might be a catalyst for him to make the decision easier. I think he could see the writing on the wall with that and saying and making, like I said, making the decision easier. But I think he just thought it was time, and he's a little up there in age. It's just like you said, time to move on, time to get on with
right.
the next chapter of your life. He's 72 years old. That is up there. That is up there. So
Yeah,
I think
he's carved a lasting legacy. I
exactly
can't remember the amount of national championships that man won.
seven,
Um,
6, 7, something
it's
like that.
something ridiculous.
Just always being in the conversation for best team in college football.
Country,
So,
right?
yeah.
Yeah. So
So
yeah, it's just interesting. It's been a crazy year thus far
it's gonna
already,
be interesting to see who steps into that position as well, because
right?
that is
Because those are some big shoes to fill, my boy.
that's not.
Those some big shoes. I wouldn't want to do it.
I yeah. I mean, especially considering that they already had a 5-star decommit. Like it's
Right.
like you're going in that they're probably gonna hit the transfer portal heavy. All those players are going to be dipping. So yeah, it's definitely going to be interesting. It's not like Coach K where you got a year to a farewell tour. You got a year to whoever was going to leave was going to leave. No, you're about it's going to be a big swap, and like you said, not only big shoes to fill legacy wise, but the fans are going to demand a lot because they're used to being at the top. Just a lot. That's a tough position to take.
Yeah, exactly. And I don't. I like my mental sanity. I like to go somewhere like how it was with Jimbo Fisher at Texas A&M, where you can pay me to not coach for your team anymore. Please do that. That's the type of job I want. I want a job where I can be mediocre and then you can pay me to leave. That's what
Josh
I want.
McDaniel. That was Josh McDaniel bag right there.
That's what I want. Pay me to stop coaching your team. You ain't gonna do that shit at Alabama. So yeah, it's gonna be very interesting to see, just for all of these teams. Like I'm so used to seeing these faces for these teams. Bill Belichick in New England, he's gonna be somewhere else. Pete Carroll in the Seahawks, he's not gonna be coaching. Nick Saban for Alabama, he's not gonna be coaching. It's gonna be it's very weird.
Yeah, it's just like just
Just
seeing
weird.
your faces of certain teams not being there. It's like seeing if Steph Curry got traded right now, seeing him be on a different team.
Yeah, it's time for him to get traded to trade to LA to have a team up with LeBron. That's what I'm ready for. That's what I'm ready for.
Bron can come to Golden State. Okay.
Bron ain't leaving. Brown ain't leaving. Nope. Curry gonna go
Brown.
right across the
If
street. He's
they
gonna go
if
right
they
down to
keep
South End.
employing Darvin Ham, he probably is.
Don't worry, they're gonna make a whole swap.
You can see the disc. That there's a little tension growing in that relationship. So if they keep employing Darvin Ham, LeBron might want to leave, but I don't think he would because LA, Bronny at USC, all that other
Yeah.
stuff. So I don't think he would, but you never know.
Yeah, you never know. So yeah, that's gonna wrap up the head coaching talk. Um, we
Real
got a
quick,
couple more topics to go to.
what
Go
would
ahead.
you say is the most favorable, most attractive head coaching job in the NFL?
Um, hmm. That's a good one because there's a lot of positions. There's a lot of teams that need someone. Of course, like the Chargers, they got Justin Herbert. Uh, they have Mike Williams, who refuses to stay healthy. They have Keenan Allen, who also can't stay healthy. Joey Bosa on defense. Khalil Mack rewinding the clock. They got a lot of pieces. So
I am
that
looking
would be a
at
good one.
I am looking at something right now though that says they need to clear over 35 million to be cap compliant.
Trade Austin Eckler. Get rid of him.
Oh well, yeah, that's
That help.
one, but that'll help. But that's still a lot of.
Yeah, that is a lot of money. I'd say though, of course, the Raiders
No,
they haven't
Austin
locked up
Eckler's
Antonio
free
Pierce
agent.
yet.
Austin
He
Eckler's a
is.
free agent. Yeah.
Oh, they need to bring in a big back. They need to stop with the short bald man, and they need to bring in somebody with some size.
I don't think they'll be able to afford Derrick Henry.
Nah. Of course, the Raiders they have a lot of good pieces too. They haven't locked up Antonio Pierce yet, so the Raiders might possibly do some dumb shit. And have to be looking for a head coach too.
They got a lot of
Titans.
cap. They got 55 million in cap.
But I'm gonna go ahead and say the Falcons, because who wouldn't want to come and inherit this buku amount of talent that we have just waiting to be properly exploited. Like
You guys got about 38 million in cap as well.
we have a lot of money in cap, and we have a lot of pieces already established. Like this isn't; these aren't diamonds in the rough. These aren't players that you're at. Well, we'll see. He's showing flashes. No, these are players that you know can be stars of the league. Bijan Robinson, Kyle Pitts, Drake London. You have Jesse Bates, the best safety in the league on defense. You still have players who are routinely contributing, like Grady Jarrett and Calais Campbell on the D line. You have AJ Terrell.
Offensive line, solid pieces on the offensive
Yeah,
line.
right. So you have a lot of things you can do. The only thing you're missing is a quarterback. There's
Which is a tough. That's a tough miss.
It is, but with the money that you said, with the what I want to say, the allure of this job, I think you can
weak division as well.
Weak division can persuade a quarterback to come over. Justin Fields, Russell Wilson. I will take either one of those players. And if you're a head coach and you're seeing these possibilities, why wouldn't you want to come here? You have nothing but potential at your disposal. The Falcons is the place to come coach. Like, you want this job. This is going to be the easiest way. And if you're a good coach, of course, if you're a good coach, I'll take Mike Vrabel. If a coach of his caliber can come over and lead and kind of mold these men into a team, a proper team, the sky is the fucking limit with the Falcons.
I would agree. I'd say they're number one. Another position I think that's more alluring than gives on at first glance, I would say the Commanders. They're about to have most cap space in the NFL at 86 million. They got 3 picks in the top 40, including the number 2 pick. They've got some talent on the offense. Terry McLaurin, Jahan Dotson, Brian Robinson. Defensively, it's really down to Jonathan Allen and Darren Payne. Emmanuel Forbes, we'll have to see how he pans out. Their first round pick from last year. But
Yeah.
I would say, they did just got Bob Myers, who's obviously we don't know how football wise he can grade talent, but we know he's able to build talent somewhat from from his 49ers, from his Warriors history. So, big cap space, division is we'll see. I mean, they it's one I would say, let me say, one of the stronger ones with Cowboys and Eagles, but Giants aren't really a trouble. So I would say that's probably top 3 in terms of one of the more alluring jobs in the NFL. I would agree.
Is it though? Is it though with Sam Howell still a question mark? What you
Well,
gonna
they
do with
got the
that number
number
2
2
pick?
pick, so they have a great chance to get another to get a quarterback that could be the future. I would,
Yeah.
but I mean, and then you look at some of the other teams. The Chargers would be much more appealing if they weren't 30 million over the cap. Uh, the Seahawks, they have about 4 million in cap. Their QB situation is a little
Yeah, but I say I
iffy.
don't
We'll
think
see how
Gino's coming
Gino.
back.
Yeah, we'll see how that works out. I would say Seahawks are probably right there neck and neck with the Commanders because of the roster. They have Devin, Witherspoon is fresh rookie. What's the other cornerback's name? I can't think of him right now, but he's in his second year. You got JSN, DK Tyler on the offense.
Tariq Woolen.
Yeah, Tariq Woolen, Kenneth Walker in the backfield. May the defensive tackle. So they got some talent. I would say that's probably either 2 or 3 with the Commanders. But then after that, it's kind of like Chargers, like I said, 30 million over the cap, and you got some players that are old or moving on. Raiders are likely to stick with Antonio. I mean, I don't. If they don't stick with Antonio Pierce, but they don't really have much talent, or they have some talent, but I don't think they have. They have a lot of holes. They do have a lot of holes. Titans, we already said I wouldn't touch that with a 10-foot pole. And then the Panthers, I wouldn't touch with a 20-foot pole. So I would say I would say it's one of the more appealing jobs in the NFL. I would say top 3. I would say top 3. I would definitely put the Falcons at number 1, but I would say they're either like right there, number 2 above the Seahawks or number 3 below the Seahawks. But those would be my top 3: Falcons, Seahawks, Commanders.
Yeah, man. Look, we need the Falcons. I really truly believe we're just a quarterback away and a coach away. That's it. Everything else we have shown the flashes on the field. We have our defense this year was better than we've had in a very, 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 very long time. Um, Desmond Ritter and his interceptions and his turnovers were one of the main reasons why we would lose these games. Uh, the play calling would be just boneheaded at times. Oftentimes, not even at times. Oftentimes, it'll be very boneheaded.
Did Johnny Smith have more yards than Pitts this year?
I wouldn't be surprised because he would go to John Smith very often. He definitely had more touchdowns.
55, 82, and 3. Let me see.
Yeah.
I wouldn't be surprised. I know Pitts was dealing with an injury all year though, wasn't he?
In the beginning, but then he kind of got back to, well, I don't want to say normal, but he kind of shook it off near the middle of the season.
3 less catches than Kyle Pitts.
That's why hopefully just next year my expectations are just growing with this team because like I don't know, bro. I'm so used to us being mediocre.
Yeah, it's one thing if the roster isn't up to
Isn't
par,
good, right?
but you have the pieces, and that's why it's so. I can imagine
It's
it being so
frustrating to watch.
frustrating. Yeah, exactly. Because you have like you said, the biggest the analogy we kept sending in the chat is like if the Warriors ran their offense through
Festus Ezeli and Andrew Bogut
yeah,
instead
exactly.
of Curry and Clay.
So yeah, I can understand how that would be extremely frustrating to see the talent not get utilized. But I would definitely say most appealing coaching job in the NFL, quarterback and head coach away from serious success. I would agree.
100%. Moving on to some playoff talk before we dive into some basketball. Um, Jared Goff, he said that the chip on his shoulder will never leave me from when he was traded away from the Los Angeles Rams to the Detroit Lions. In 2021, the Rams traded Jared Goff, a 2021 third round pick, a 2022 first round pick, and a 2023 first round pick to Detroit in exchange for Matthew Stafford. We know how that turned out. Matthew Stafford ended up leading the Rams to a Super Bowl win, and Jared Goff was kind of having to rebuild his career in Detroit. Uh, Jared Goff went to a Super Bowl with the Rams in 2018. It was one of the most unentertaining, lowest scoring Super Bowls in history. He was kind of scapegoated for that. He was a young quarterback still at the time. And just ever since then, his reputation was just kind of in the mud, being called Jared Goof. He had to rebuild his reputation in Detroit. And when I
You
remember,
were the
yeah,
proprietor of
I
Jared.
was, I was. Yes, I was one of the main people calling him Jared Goof. But I was also on the train of saying that maybe being in Detroit was good for his development as a quarterback, having to rebuild. And you're in Los Angeles, all eyes are on y'all. Just from the Rams and their storied history being from Los Angeles, in the first place. So all eyes were on y'all. You had a lot of pressure on you. Um, so I said when he got traded to Detroit, could have been the best thing for him. Could have. And fast forward to 2024, look at where they're at now. I think it was. So when he says that the chip will never leave his shoulder from when he got traded, I like to hear that. I like to hear that leading up to a big playoff game for not just you yourself, but for your team, for your city. This is a very big game. A lot of narratives, a lot on the line, a lot to prove for both teams. It'll be a very emotional game. I like to hear that. It makes for better football. It makes for a better viewing experience. For damn sure, I'm gonna be tuned in 100% to see how it goes. He's, with him saying that he is putting more pressure on himself because no one wants to say you have a chip on your shoulder and it'll never leave you, and then you go out and you wet the bed. So it's a lot. It's gonna be some pressure on him as well to perform against his former team. I'm sure he is 100% more than willing to take that challenge. Like I said, I just like to hear. I like that. I like to see some spite in between. You know what I'm saying, between these two teams.
Yeah, I agree. I like to see some fight. Like you said, it'll be a very emotional game. It'll be crazy to see, especially if the Lions were to go on and win a Super Bowl or something like that. That would be just it'll go down as one of the bigger trades in NFL history. But yeah, I think definitely he should be one of the leaders in lighting a fire under the Lions this week. He should be one of the ones that, I want to see him breaking down the huddle damn near, because I think it's a big game for, like you said, not just him, not just his team, the whole city of Detroit. They've suffered as a city when it comes to sports across all three sports. We don't even need to mention the Pistons. The Tigers are terrible too. The Lions have been terrible for a long time. So I think this is the city of Detroit needs, it's crazy to say, but the city of Detroit needs Jared Goff to step up.
Yeah. Matthew Stafford, the first year after being traded, he went on and won a Super Bowl. Uh, however, he didn't win a single playoff game during his 12 years with Detroit. Jared Goff has a chance to do so. So yeah, like I said, there's just a lot of storylines, a lot of narratives, this is Matthew Stafford's first game back in Detroit since being traded. So there's a lot going on in this game. I'm
It's
super excited to
interesting
see.
for an NFC opponent. That's his first game back.
Never played, right? So I'm very excited to see this go down. I'm rooting for the Lions. I'm rooting for Jared Goff.
I want the Lions to win, but I think the Rams will win.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna slide it over to the Rams as well, as far as their as Matthew Stafford and his ability to always find a way to put the ball in Puka's or Cooper Cup's hands, I think it's going to be too much for that very questionable secondary that the Lions got going on. It's going to be a shootout, though. It's
That
going to be a shootout.
new running back, or that rookie running back that they had.
Kyron Williams.
Is that his name? Yeah, Kyron
Mhm.
Williams. Yeah, he's pretty tough. He's pretty tough. So they've got like you said, it's gonna be a shootout. There's gonna be, I expect fireworks on both sides. You got two very loaded offenses. We said Puka Cooper, Kyron on the Rams. You got Amon Ra, who's one of the top receivers in the league. You got Jameer Gibbs and David Montgomery in the backfield. Sam Laporta, who I don't know what his status is on playing. I know we said he had an outside chance earlier in the week. I don't know what the update on that, but you got heavy hitters on both sides. So it's gonna be a fun offensive game to watch, a fun game to watch in general, and I'm excited for that one. That's definitely probably playoff, probably my game of the weekend. I would say there's not really many games I'm more excited for on this wild card weekend than that one. Only other one would really be Chiefs Dolphins,
Yeah.
and I would say for me it's like Rams Lions, Chiefs Dolphins, Texans Browns, and then the other three just kind of or Phillies Bucks fourth, and then the other two 2-7s. I don't really.
Yeah, you saw that weather report for Kansas City versus Miami.
Yeah, I said wind
That's gonna be
chill
crazy.
expected to be -30 with the wind chill. Any Chiefs fan that goes to that, I applaud your loyalty because you would never catch me supporting my team in -30 degree weather. I don't
No.
care how much of a fan, unless even if the tickets were free. I'm okay. If they were free, I might go. We be
Hell
bringing
no.
blankets with the family, but yeah, any fan that's going to a Chiefs fan, I applaud you. You know, Arrowhead's one of the more hostile stadiums in the league anyway.
Yeah.
So
And I guarantee you that motherfucker's gonna be packed and it's gonna be rocking
yeah.
in the cold.
So
It's gonna be crazy.
Dolphins have a lot. They have a big steep hill to climb. I've got the Chiefs coming
And
out of that one.
yeah, I said the Dolphins, but after seeing that weather report, it's like, dog, y'all like Miami just dug themselves this hole.
Yeah,
Miami
that's
and the
their fault too.
Eagles. The
Yeah,
Dolphins and the Eagles are the two teams that have really dug themselves this hole. Like the Dolphins should be playing at home next weekend. They should not be playing on the road against Arrowhead.
Steelers. They should be at
Yes,
home against the Steelers, but now
yes.
they're going to the cold.
And then the Eagles, Jalen Hurts hasn't thrown a pass since he broke his finger last Sunday. AJ Brown hasn't practiced. They might fuck around and get beat too.
I
These are the two
expect them
teams.
to lose. I got
Yeah,
the Bucks.
yeah. Like these are two teams that have dug themselves these holes that they're in, and they're gonna have to climb them. They're gonna have to climb themselves up on out of it.
Yeah, both
And it's
teams pretty much have no chance of getting a home game. So it's not a
yeah,
that's
it's
like
gonna
you
be
said,
rough.
dug themselves in the hole, and they got no choice but to put their shoulder against the boulder and start pushing.
Yeah, because there was once a time where we were saying it might be Dolphins versus Eagles in the Super Bowl.
At
That was the time.
the start of the year, probably
Yeah,
mid year, that was probably
yeah.
a very
And now
strong
look at them.
possibility.
Now both of them playing on the road and in both in situations where it's not very favorable. One with the weather and the other with injuries. So
Right.
it's just I get frustrated talking about those two teams because they should not be where they're at right now. At all.
I agree.
At all.
That wrap up the NFL for today.
Yeah, so that's gonna be it for the NFL. We're about an hour and 13 into this episode. Wrapping up very shortly. We want to talk about a little bit of basketball before we head on to another episode of Who That Is, where I'll be quizzing Noble's knowledge of very obscure players and
I'm
the
a
team
good
they play
person
for.
because he accidentally revealed the team earlier, and he didn't even
Yeah,
realize. I
yeah, I messed up. I usually do. I pick a random year and then I spin a wheel of NBA teams, and I had to pick that team to see and pick a player from the team. I accidentally revealed the team. I wasn't even thinking, so because it would be almost impossible if I was to have him guess the player rather than guessing the team.
Yeah, I would never get the
Yeah,
player. Almost never, especially as obscure as you see last week, or I'm sorry, last episode we had
Dwight Bikes.
Dwight Bikes. So I would have never made that guess in a million years. So the team, obviously the team is much more 1 out of 30 or 1 out of 32 in the NFL as opposed to 1 out of however thousands of NBA, NFL players. So yeah, the players would be cooked.
Yeah. So we have another one of those lined up. Already got the player ready. We'll get to that one very shortly. Before then, let's head over to the NBA. Trade deadline's coming up. We're approaching the middle of the season. A lot going on. A lot of surprises. One of the biggest being that the Warriors, Golden State Warriors, they're 12th. 12th, I say, in the Western Conference. Record of 17-20. They are 2 games behind the 11th seed. They've had a lot of collapses recently. You can just look at the facial expressions on Stephen Curry. Excuse me. And you can tell that all isn't well in Oakland right now. They just got done. They just got beat 141-105 against the New Orleans Pelicans. Let me say that again. 141 points to 105 to the New Orleans Pelicans. They also got beat by the Raptors 2 days before then.
They
That was 2
also
consecutive
blew
games, so they got
an
blown out.
18-point lead in the fourth quarter against the Nuggets
Yep.
within the last week.
Yep. They blew that. Those are 2 straight games there where they never held a lead. Before then, they were blowing leads. Like you said, the game against the Nuggets. These are they are 2-5 during these games at home. During the home stretch. 2-5.
Everybody. I
Like
don't
this
care.
is
Everybody that's not Curry, open up the what Gil said. Open up the locker. Just throw a trash bag in there. You know what time it is, buddy. It's time for you to go. Clay, sayonara. I don't know if you saw the thing where he said, regards to in regards to fans booing the Warriors.
I
He was
saw
like,
that.
what am I supposed to do? Lose sleep over it? Yes, you're supposed to lose sleep, bro. They're booing you. Your own fans are booing you. You are supposed to.
When was the last time we have seen that happen with the Warriors? We have never.
I can't name it. Especially this is an Oracle. These fans are a little bit more these aren't even as heavy hitting fans as Oracle. Oracle would have probably thrown trash on the court at this point. But yes, that mentality, that whole mentality, and the thing with Draymond, what you spoke about earlier, his mentality of I'm sorry, I can't exactly remember what it was, but you can't keep punishing me for the past or
the lack of accountability.
Yeah, exactly. Just in general, the lack of accountability, the attitude of everybody not named Steph Curry. You got Kuminga, who's frustrated, rightly so. I understand where Kuminga is coming from because Steve Kerr has not been utilizing him properly. But just overall and in general, it's kind of like what we're seeing from the Eagles, where it's just attitude. Clay doesn't give a damn. Draymond can't stay on the court because he can't stop hitting people.
Punching people.
The younger players aren't getting utilized by Steve Kerr properly. Steph Curry has been the only bright spot this year. And even to an extent, there's times where he doesn't even look like himself. He lost his 2 however many game 3-point streak this year. So it's just been a very terrible. It's been a downfall to say it lightly. The downfall of the Warriors is upon us,
and it's crazy to watch. It's really crazy to watch.
It's avoidable. Andrew Wiggins has been terrible, but everything else everything has still been so avoidable. This should not like we said with the Dolphins and the Eagles. It's frustrating to watch because they should not be in this position.
Nope. I really think that the catalyst was drafting James Wiseman, trying to.
I'll say a little bit after that, just because they won the championship after that. I'll say Draymond punching Poole is my personal catalyst.
Yeah, that's also a good nexus to point at. The man can't keep his hands to himself. He's back reinstated. He's back playing, but I don't think it's enough. I truly think, like you said earlier, legacy only means so much to me. It only means so much to me
especially for a player.
for a
Now, for
player.
a coach, coaching is a little bit differently because I don't think
Yeah,
you get stupider. Like I don't think you lose the ability to coach for real. But I mean, leagues evolve, so you can not keep up. But I think as a player, once you're like, okay, you did a lot for us. We love you for that. We love what you did for the city. But if you can't produce on the court, then it's really just cooked for you. I don't time. Father time hits all of us except LeBron. So I
right.
can't it's not as a player, legacy really doesn't matter to me, unless we're talking about after they retire. So
Yeah,
I'm with you on legacy even more than for coaching, because
yeah,
legacy means nothing when it comes to on court production.
yeah. And so if the trade deadline's coming up, the Warriors are one of the teams who need to make a move. They need to. Um, they're not. This isn't a maybe. This isn't love. We'll what I'm saying. We'll see if we can right the ship. There ain't no right in this shit. Y'all niggas just hit the iceberg and y'all are sinking. You got this much to get the women and children off the boat. The women and children being Curry. You need to go ahead and do as much as you can to salvage this
Uh,
season as possible.
Curry, I would keep a couple more, add a couple to that. I would say there's a couple future pieces. I would say Kuminga, Moody, Pods has looked really well. Brandon Podzim, I'm sorry, I don't want to butcher his name, but Brandon Pods. But my eyes, Clay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins,
Wiggins,
even
sayonara.
Looney to an extent. It was nice having y'all
Yeah.
boys. I'm glad
Look,
we were able to share these last 10 plus
they
years together. You got
they
us
need to
some
go ahead and
rings.
trade Kuminga to the Hawks. I'll take that.
I
Y'all
wouldn't,
can, y'all can
unless
take
you're giving
DeAndre
up some
Hunter.
first rounders.
Y'all can take DeAndre Hunter
No, thank
and
you. I decline.
Bogdanovich. I can give you all that, and we will take
I would,
Kuminga
I would,
off
I
you.
would, I would, I would rock with Bogdan. I'm not gonna lie to you. Now I don't know about for Kuminga, but I would rock with Bogdan to get another shooter around Curry. But that aside, Clay, Draymond, Andrew Wiggins, we love y'all boys. Y'all helped brought some chips. Andrew Wiggins, you brought us one chip. It's time to go. Yeah, it's time to pack your bags. And maybe they said Cleveland kind of wanted Andrew Wiggins. He can go back to them. I don't know. Draymond, I don't know where you can go. Clay, I have no idea. I don't even know who's been wanting Clay, but it's time for y'all
Yeah,
to pack your bags and to enjoy the flight. I'm sure they're gonna give you first class, all accommodations for
right.
that's where your legacy comes in. Your legacy comes in how I treat you. I'll let you pick where you want to get traded. But other than
Yeah.
that, it's
Look,
time. The ship is
we'll
sinking.
we'll see y'all when y'all return back to Golden State and y'all get the little presentation
We'll get
video
you the
when the
video.
club.
We'll
Yeah,
get you the video
yeah,
for
we'll
sure.
get
That's
y'all
where your legacy comes in, right there.
right. So yeah, that's been the biggest thing of me is seeing is the Warriors just collapse in front of us. Like the Rockets, led by Dylan Brooks, are at 500, a better record than the Warriors. This crazy. Um, the Thunder, they've been very impressive with Shea Gilgeous Alexander um, going on his MVP campaign. And I'm sorry y'all for the coughing. I was sick last week, but I have a residual cough that has just been killing me. I sound like a an old man with the amount of coughing I've been doing just all week pretty much. Um, but that's neither here nor there. The Timberwolves, the number one seed Timberwolves, playing some great basketball. Uh, Anthony Edwards, hometown kid from Atlanta, Oakland City. Always going to root for him. One day, I'm gonna link up with him. One day,
Back in the city, man.
yeah, one day I'm gonna link up with him. He's gonna be an Atlanta Hawk soon. I can promise you that. Uh, Shea Gilgeous Alexander, Nikola Jokic, Luka Doncic. Those are my top three for MVP, and they're all in the Western Conference. Jason Tatum, we can. You know what I'm saying? He has an outside chance, but
The seasons would have to there would have to be some big changes for Jason Tatum to win MVP for me this year. But I agree. Those are my top three. My order would be a little bit different. I don't know if that was your order. My order right now is Jokic, Luka, SGA. But yeah, I would say those top three. Embiid would be up there, but I don't know if he's even going to be eligible with the amount of games that he's missing. He's only allowed to miss
Yeah.
like 14 more games. So we have to see if he even ends up retaining eligibility for awards for not only MVP, but if he doesn't
All
play
NBA.
65 games, he can't even get all
Yeah.
NBA. So yeah, we'll have to see with that. I'll put him top 5 in my MVP,
Yeah.
but I don't, like I said, I don't know if he'll retain eligibility.
Tell him, look, SGA, Luca, and Jokic, not a single American in sight. You got a Canadian, a Slovenian, and a Serbian. The NBA has changed a lot.
Big different. It's much different. They got a
Yeah, it's crazy.
new Wimby over there in France. I don't know if you saw him. I don't know what lab they're Alperen Sengun. He's from Turkey. We got I don't know what lab that or it's just become such an international game now. When was the last American born MVP? Was Harden or who was Harden in 2018.
Yeah,
It was
it
Giannis,
was
Jokic,
James Harden.
Jokic, Embiid. So
Yeah,
much different game. I mean, I'm all for it. I'm all for seeing talent because there's been plenty of talent lost internationally. As far as basketball, I mean, Embiid's from Cameroon. There's probably another Embiid out there that just never got a shot. So
see, look, they don't know about the original Embiid, Hashim Thabit. They don't know about the original Embiid. That's who was the original Embiid.
Embiid is
Yeah,
insane.
yeah, Hashim Thabit. You don't know about Hashim the Dream.
Yeah, that's that I wouldn't be surprised if he comes up on a who that is. I mean, he's probably a little bit too infamous because you and I know
Yeah,
but he could be outside who that is. But either way, like I said, yeah, the NBA is getting led. At least Anthony Edwards holding down for the A. But
yeah.
the West is looking pretty tight right now.
They can have the you know what I'm saying, these Europeans and these foreigners, they can have these little MVPs. Because when it's time for these Paris games in 2024, when we assemble the goddamn Avengers, y'all gonna know who America is. Y'all gonna know who America is. So they can have these MVPs.
The thing about international games is that it's too diverse. Like it's talent internationally, but it's too diverse. They're not all one country. You got, like you said, different countries: Canada, Serbia, Slovenia, Cameroon. Like these are all different countries. It's not one country versus all of the talent in America. So it's a little different there. But yeah, I agree that the NBA has been taken over, and it's here. I mean, it's been here for a couple years now, but it's definitely here now that it's just an international game.
Absolutely. Very wild to see. The NBA is picking up, and we're going to be here talking about it. We're about to wrap up this episode, folks.
Was Ja hurt? I don't know. Was he hurt? Did we mention him last?
No, I don't think so. But yeah, Ja, he's out for the season towards labrum.
Yeah, shoulder injury.
Labrum, so he's gonna be out for the entire season. It sucks to see, especially since he just came back. Marcus Smart too for the Grizzlies just got hurt with the severe finger injury. He's gonna be out for 6 weeks. So yeah, the Grizzlies just gonna go ahead and phone this season in. He's gonna pack this shit up. Go ahead and see if y'all can get a draft pick, regroup, because it's cooked.
Yeah, Steven Adams was hurt for a year before the year even started. Ja out for a year. It's you never want to tell them to give up, but this season is pretty cooked for them. They've got. I mean, obviously they've got a ton to look forward to. It's not like they're going into rebuild mode or anything like that, but this season is pretty cooked for them. But Ja might finish the year with more wins than the Pistons. I will say that. 6 wins in 9 games.
Still only have 3. That's so sad to look at.
And they are mathematically capable of breaking their own losing streak record. They would be on a 35-game losing streak record if OG Anunoby wasn't traded that day on the Raptors, because IQ couldn't get there. IQ and who was the other one I was traded?
RJ Barrett.
Yeah, they couldn't get to the Raptors. It was their first day when they were playing the Pistons, and they only won by 2. So if they didn't make that trade that day, the Pistons would probably be on a 35-game losing streak right now. They are capable of breaking their own record. So we'll have to see. We keep our eyes on that. That loser
Yeah,
streak's definitely gonna pile up.
them folks are sorry. Like that's a disgrace of an NBA team, an NBA franchise. Like they're just taking up space at this point.
Yeah, I
Like,
heard expansion talks. I've been hearing more and more Seattle and Las Vegas.
yeah, I know LeBron's gonna have something to do with Las Vegas. I hope Seattle gets a team back. They
They
definitely
they
deserve it.
deserve a team. They
Like,
deserve. They never should have lost the OKC for real.
just for their stuff to get snatched and taken to Oklahoma City,
Not even like a big city. They went to OKC.
Oklahoma. And I know it's for the city purposes, like the city didn't want to build a new arena and all that stuff. Money talks. It's about time they get something back though. And of
Which
course, when
is
you bring in one, you
crazy
gotta
to
bring in
think
the other.
about. That is crazy to think about. That they didn't think sports. They weren't willing to make that sacrifice because sports just brings such. There's such um a hidden profit in sports, like revenue in general is not just the sport itself. Like it just brings everything, brings tourism, it brings money. It just brings it's a money. Sports in general is a money vacuum. There's so
Right.
much money that is in sports. I work at a frame shop. When the Braves won the championship, when UGA won the championship, we were busier than ever because people were getting magazines framed. So there's such hidden things that goes into business and sports. So I'm very shocked that that whole situation happened. Any team that doesn't want to build a new arena and things of that sort, or any city that doesn't want to build or invest in sports, it's just interesting decision for me. But
Yeah,
that's neither here nor there.
yeah, it is. When they do bring it back though, you already know the All-Star game is gonna be held up there eventually. Same thing in Las Vegas. It's
Las
about
Vegas
time
for
the NBA
sure.
grow. Yeah,
Las Vegas for
it's
sure. You
about
know,
time. It's about time the NBA grows some more. That's what life
Seattle's
is
got
about,
that
is growing.
hockey team the last 2 years.
Then
That
Seattle Kraken.
Kraken. So they're
Hmm.
slowly getting back into the sports world as a city. They hosted the MLB All Star Game last year.
Right,
So
with the and they got the Mariners. Yeah, so they got everything but basketball, and they've had a pretty good legacy with basketball. They've had a lot of top stars from Gary Payton to Sean
Torch,
Kemp to
Torch franchise
KD
for
his
sure.
rookie year, to what's that man's name? Missing his name. Detlef Schrempf. What's that? Excuse me. What's that man's name? He
What era?
Dale Ellis.
No,
Um, there's another one though. It's I don't want to say Doug. It's not Doug. It's something. It's I'm losing my mind. It's he played in the '90s or the late '80s, early '90s with the Sonics. But yeah, they got a long legacy of great players. It's crazy too that Jeff Green and KD are the only two players that suited up for the Sonics, and they're still playing. Like Jeff Green's still over here doing reverse jams on the baseline and shit. Like Uncle Jeff is crazy. Like that's insane. Oh, of course, Ray Allen, Rashard Lewis, in
yeah,
the
Xavier
early and mid 2000s.
Xavier McDaniel. That was one of the ones from the
That's who it
Lakers.
is. Xavier McDaniels, yeah. Spencer Haywood for sure. Xavier McDaniels, Nick McMillan.
Name and really, yeah, just a storied franchise. That's a very obviously they were in one of the finals duels with Jordan. Actually went up. I'm pretty sure they went up on him. Weren't they at one point?
I think so. They went to 6 before. Yeah, I think they were possibly. I think they were up 2-1.
Yeah,
Before
I think they went up 2-1
Jordan
before.
put that shit away.
Yeah, but
Um,
yeah, it'll be good to see Seattle get that team, get a team back there. They're a very deserving city. Another, yeah, I hate Seattle and everything just because our rivalry, but it's a fun
yeah.
rivalry to have.
And with that, I think it's time to go on to who that is. You need to play
I'm
you need to get some. You need to
redeeming
get some theme music.
myself.
All right. So with this, you only get 2 guesses instead of 3.
Okay.
You only get 2. Um, this player, he is a big man. Born in Atlanta, Georgia. Born and raised in Atlanta, Georgia. Went to Wheeler High School. I didn't know that. This is J.J. Hickson.
Okay.
JJ Hickson.
What did he average?
Played,
What his averages?
he averaged 9.5 points, 6.8 rebounds over a 10-year career.
What were the years? Rookie year?
From 2008 till
2018.
2016.
JJ.
He's played on 1, 2, 3 Western Conference teams and 2 Eastern Conference teams.
3 Western Conference, 2 Eastern Conference. Let's see, I think it's definitely not a first guess. What was his last name again? I forgot that fact.
Hickson. JJ Hickson.
Hickson. I'm trying to think of where I've seen that
He's played
name.
He's played in the power forward position and the center position.
Can I get a jersey number for one team?
Yes, he wore jersey number 21.
Hickson 21. Where have I seen that? Can I get a was he on the Grizzlies?
The Grizzlies. No, that's not one. You get one more guess. He did play in the Western Conference.
He said 3 West, 2 East. What's his most notable year? Like his best year? What conference was that?
Let's see. His best year. 2010, 2011. Points wise, yeah. Yeah. His most overall solid year, 2012, 2013.
2K11.
He has played with 2 Hall of Famers.
2 Hall of Famers. That doesn't help too much.
Yeah, I can't say because if I say
you'll get current Hall of Famers are like 2 like
future
potential. Okay.
Future Hall of Famers. Like they're bona fide going to be in the Hall of Fame.
Okay. That is so they're active players, right?
Yeah.
All right. Let's see. There's not too many that I like. That narrows it down pretty well. Let's see.
Actually, probably be third. 3 Hall of Famers.
3.
Yeah.
See on the last guess. The Thunder.
No. Unfortunately, you get this one wrong again. You're 0-2 on who that is.
Hey, man. I didn't bring the NFL in here, man.
You're 0-2. We're going to do NFL next week for the playoffs.
Give me some NFL.
He played for the Cleveland Cavaliers with LeBron. He played with the Portland Trailblazers with Damian Lillard. He played with the Nuggets, albeit with Jokic, albeit this was before Jokic really started popping.
Wow. Okay.
He also played with the Sacramento Kings and the Washington Wizards. Let's go. Let's look at his best highlight. Let me share the screen.
Oh yeah, we gotta do highlight of the.
Yeah, we gotta do the highlight. Let me see. This is the first highlight I see. And the title is insane.
He was on Sacramento for 35 games.
You see the title?
That's crazy.
Let's see what they talk about.
Cleveland. Is he Cleveland or Portland?
Portland. He's number 21 right there.
Who was that on, bro? Who got put on a JJ Hickson poster, bro?
Yo, that is crazy.
Alonzo man, I'm not gonna lie to you.
Alonzo, you go out bad for that, bro.
That just shows you the skill level of NBA players. I mean, he was solid apparently. I don't really remember. I don't really remember any of him, to be frank. But
I remember him playing with LeBron on the Cavs and Portland. Those are his best years. Well, not his best years when he was with LeBron.
15 and 12 for Portland.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, 15 and 12 a second year.
Yeah, it was he was a solid big, solid, like he was solid. He spent 8 years in the league.
What's your 6'9" center? A little undersized for a center, but still that's interesting. Shout out him from Atlanta. He went to Wheeler. There's
Yeah,
also who else went to Wheeler? I know there's a couple NBA players that went to Wheeler.
let's see. I wonder if I can find that.
I know
Wheeler
you can on
NBA.
yeah, NBA basketball reference. Jalen Brown, that's who I'm thinking of. Jalen Brown went to Wheeler.
I remember.
Sharif Abdul Rahim also went to Wheeler. I knew there was a couple notable
Yeah,
names that went to Wheeler.
Brad Armstrong's a former professional wrestler. Don't know who that is.
You know, Walker Kessler went to Woodward.
Yeah, I did know that. I did used to watch not Sharif, Colin Sexton at Pepperidge.
Mm-hmm.
And I actually I've spoken to Colin Sexton on multiple occasions before. Cool
Devin
guy.
Vassell went to Peachtree Ridge. I didn't know that.
So I'm always gonna root for
Jeremy
him.
Lamb went to Norcross. I didn't know that. Isaac Okoro at McEachern. He's there with Stendo.
Yeah.
Him and Johnny hooping together, man.
Douglas Lima. He went to Wheeler. Douglas Lima. He's a professional fighter. He's the owner, or him and his brother are owners of AT&T Team Lima. Douglas Lima too. It's crazy. Hey man, well, we need some.
Lore, man.
Bro, that's what's up. We need some. Where are the people from the public schools of Atlanta, bro?
Not
Like
much.
we need some.
Not
We
much.
need some.
There's actually a couple players that like have come from like Douglas High School.
That's what I need to see. That's what I need to see. I
You
need to
know,
see
before he went to
real.
Holy Innocence, Anthony Edwards went to Carroll.
Yeah, that's
For
what I like
those
to
who don't,
see.
yeah, for those
That's
who
why I'm
don't
gonna
know,
always root for
that's
Anthony Edwards.
yeah. For those who don't know, that's South Atlanta. That's one of them ones. That's Atlanta High School. Like that's a real Atlanta high school.
So I'm always
South
gonna root
Atlanta.
for
That's
Ant
the
Man.
hood. That is the hood before he went to a private school. But yeah, that I personally always my father taught at Thurl, a little bit of Nobler. My father taught at Thurl. So Thurl is it's just super interesting to see that he can because not many people make it far from that school. So
Right.
that's definitely interesting. It is interesting to see there's not many, as big as Atlanta is, there's not many there's more outer city talent than there is inner city.
Inner city, yeah, we ain't like that. Not like New York. Not like Miami. Not like them
And
places.
Derek Favors went
Not
to
like
South Atlanta.
L.A.
Derek Favors went to South Atlanta. I didn't know that.
Yeah, I remember when we signed him and that was a thing. Man, tell Derek Favors you need to get his stain up. He ain't like that around here. We don't know him like that.
But yeah, a little bit of Atlanta lore to wrap up the episode.
Yeah. With that, that's gonna be Hear Me Roar episode 33. This will be dropping in the morning time. This was a good episode, a nice chill one. Talked about a lot of head coaching, football talk. We will be back here again Tuesday to discuss all of the Super Wild Card Weekend madness that I'm sure is going to take place.
You wanna
we appreciate y'all watching.
You want to officially, real quick, like list off our picks real quick?
What?
I know we went. We say for wild card. I mean, I know we kind of went through it last episode, but just real quick, just run down what our picks are.
Yeah. I need to put the schedule in front of
me. I know off the top of my head, Browns. I've got Browns over Texans. I've got Chiefs over Dolphins. I've got Bills over Steelers. I've got Bucks over Philly. I've got Cowboys over Packers, and I've got Rams over Lions. So I'll say that Browns, Chiefs, Bills, Bucks, Cowboys, Rams. Those are my picks.
Okay, let me see. I'm gonna say go Cleveland. I changed my bet. Kansas City's gonna win. Buffalo's gonna win. Tampa Bay's gonna win. Dallas is gonna win. And I'm gonna say the Lions are gonna win.
So we got the same picks. So we'll see how Super Wild Card Weekend goes.
Yep, we're gonna see. I'm rooting for the Browns. I want them to go all the way. Peyton Hillis, shout out Peyton Hillis. Shout out Cleveland Browns. Y'all can never say y'all ain't have a supporter. I'm rocking with y'all because my Falcons are out doing who God knows what.
Coach talk.
Yep. You know what's new. And with that, we're gonna wrap up this episode. I'm gonna go get me some cough drops because this cough shit got me feeling like I'm Arthur Morgan. We'll see y'all next week. Got a lot of football to talk about next week. With that being said, like, comment, subscribe on YouTube. Give us a rating on Apple. Give us a rating on Spotify. And we'll catch y'all in a few days.